Hello everybody and welcome back to Starcraft 2. Today we're jumping into another match from the Shoe Shiners Discord, which there will be a link in the description below if you'd like to join in, because these fight nights are very fun. Today, we're going to be having Patchert, our red Terran, up here at the top left-hand corner of Ruby Rock. And down here, at the bottom right, we have Gemini as our light blue Protoss. It's a very good color for Protoss. I think it just works really well with their aesthetic. Plus that dark Nexus, he's got a very nice little like theming going on here that I am here for. Very well-timed gateway and a assimilator, by the way. I'm looking into that because I'm curious about what MMR we're going to be dealing with here today. We do have gas. A hidden Rax, interestingly enough. This is typically to get the Reaper there just slightly faster. We'll have to see if that is what he decides to do with it. I don't know if it's map specific. It might be. Because if you look, he's already starting to block this off. I don't know if he wants the Reaper to get in here or something. Gemini says shocking as he comes up here, as he doesn't actually see the barracks. Very confused about that. Reaper on the way, which, to be fair, honestly, this might not be about getting a Reaper there faster. I wonder if Gemini is like, if he's trying to make Gemini not realize that the Reaper, or that this isn't like a proxy barracks. You know what I mean? Like, he wants Gemini to overreact to this. That's kind of what I'm guessing right now. We do have a Zealot on the field. You don't always see Zealots come out whenever you're fighting Terran, so this will be interesting to see if it's just his preference or if he does actually do anything with that. Now, Gemini does scout the barracks, and he's going to use the Reaper to chase down the probe here. So it definitely wasn't a timing thing. I'm really wondering... the spray. I'm really wondering, by the way, if that was genuinely to try to get him to overreact. Adept's being chrono boosted out, which makes sense. Zealot's going to make its way across the map. I wonder if he's trying to get at the SCVs or if he wants to just start working on that barracks. Because to be fair, it is going to be really hard for him to defend that barracks if he leaves it there. Sends a Shade out. Now the Shade's going to stay on top of the Reaper, so that way he can get a free kill there on the Reaper. Zealot is going to move up here. See that the barracks has been moved up. So now I'm really interested to see what tech we're going to see from our Protoss player. Now, we're going into the Twilight Council, and it's first thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few adepts into Blinkstalker. That has been a very popular play from Protoss recently. The Zealot actually, yeah, on the outside here, they do get the bunker killed, which means it's going to make it hard for the Terran to actually be able to expand. The reason for this is because he's only going to be building things like Marines. And Marines are absolutely dreadful against Adepts. And he's already got one across the map. I'll be curious if he sends another. He might leave it, though, simply due to the fact that the Reaper could end up showing up at his base. Now, this is something I've always nitpicked, and you guys know it. We have a supply drop on the wall here. Now, you're about to see one of the reasons why I nitpick it. Ooh, I really like the skin on those Marines. Like, I saw the Reaper look different, but the Marines look really cool. Both these guys have great skins. I don't think he's actually going to be able to get that. He might be able to stop this from landing, though, which is funny. Yeah, he does. Now, that is enough Marines to deal with this, but he will trade quite effectively. And depending on how he micros, I feel like he could actually kill this. Stalker has arrived as well. Need to not pay too much attention to the action from him. I'd like to see what they're teching to. We have a starport on the way, 2 racks with reactors. Protoss units are going to come up here and cause a lot of freaking problems. Behind, we are getting that Robo Bay. We are getting that Blink, as I thought we might. So this is going to become a very big problem, because the Terran is already behind because of all of this harassment. If we go to the units tab, you can see we're at 23 SCVs to almost 40 probes. Now, naturally, Terran is going to be behind on workers, but that deficit is quite significant. Protoss does, unfortunately, lose the Stalker there, which isn't a big deal. How many gateways do we have, actually? Units. Wait, how do I... I did something. I went back. B goes back. Don't press B, guys. Don't press B. All right, how many gateways do we have? We have 1, 2, 3. We only have 3 gateways, so this isn't going to be like any crazy Stalker blink all in or anything like that, which is interesting because he is chrono boosting out the blink, unless he just wants that in case there is some kind of counter push from the Terran to do damage. That was a lot of aggression, a lot of microing, so he did kind of fall behind on his macro just slightly, which is to be expected. Lots of Marines continuing to be pumped out. Medivacs, no surprise. I will be interested to see, though, if we see a Widow Mine drop come in from our Terran player. It's something that a lot of Terrans like to do against Protoss, because if Protoss doesn't tech in a specific way, it can be kind of difficult. But we are going to hold that thought, because we have a Warp Prism here. Now, what he decides to do with the Warp Prism will be interesting, because we already have Blink on the Stalkers. So if I had to guess, the Warp Prism will either be there to assist the Stalkers to get out, or he might warp in things like Zealots. We'll see. However, the Terran army is now moving across the map. The Stalkers do go in, and they are going to get the combat shield. You can say bye to combat shield. The Marines are not going to have that anytime soon. He does have the stim, and he is going to commit to this attack. So even though the Stalkers are here, he is going to be going forward. I did see a little bit of a warp in there from Gemini, which means that his gateways are on cooldown, meaning that he can't warp in. Now, he is going to recall, but that many Marines on top of that many Stalkers, he is going to have to pull the probes to be able to deal with this. Now, with the reduced Marine count and some good blinks, he might be able to defend this without taking too much more damage. Right now, anything he can do to avoid losing SCVs and returning, or not SCVs, but probes, and returning those to mining is going to be for the better. All in all, considering what happened, a good defense from our Protoss player, Gemini. Patchert did a very good job by committing there and not overreacting and turning around whenever the blink went in. Now, obviously, he is going to be a while before he has that combat shield. So as the Protoss starts to get upgrades, like things like Charge and Storm, like you see up here, these Marines are just going to die. They're going to die very, very, very quickly. Now, that doesn't mean they're useless, but it's something to keep in mind. If we have a good timing push from our Protoss player, which you can see we're already moving it back across the map, which, by the way, is not meant to kill by any stretch of the imagination. It's to get information and potentially do a little bit of damage. He does see that there was a Cyclone. Ooh, good blink to try to get out and keep those Stalkers alive. We do have a stim forward, which you have to remember is a double-edged sword, especially when you're dealing without combat shield. Medevac's going to heal those back up, though. We do have a Warp Prism up on the north-hand side. We'll have to see if he decides to do anything with that. High Templar are on the field and building energy. And Storm is finished. This attack is going to die so fast. Watch what one Storm does here. One Storm will melt this army without combat shield, especially now that it's been stimmed. We have Warp Ins coming up here with the Warp Prism. That is 4 Zealots. We'll have to see what he can do with that. Combat shield now halfway finished. Standard Terran composition going to make its way down here to the south. Probably see if it can get a kill on the 3rd. However, we do have the Zealots coming in here that do have that charge done. They're going to start swiping away at the SCVs. Probably get quite a few. Again, notice that Patchert does not turn around for this stuff. Patchert done this 1,000 times. He knows he can get it defended without turning the army around. Huge doom drop, though, coming in from Patchert. So he's going to respond by saying, you know what? You've got part of your army in my base. I'm just going to send my army into yours. Now, Gemini does pull his army into the main here, doesn't utilize that blink to get up faster, so he may be using it to get on top of the Medivacs if they decide to try to pick up. Zealots are now going to move in here. Yep, Stalkers are now going to start weakening down those Medivacs, so he won't be able to pull any of these units out. And oh, big Storm, look how fast those Marines go down. Oh my god, dude. Leaves his Stalkers in the Storm, but luckily it hit mostly the shields. In the meantime, by the way, I did unfortunately miss a little bit more of a warp in here. As SCVs do go down, 23 SCVs to 62 probes. The Protoss is getting ahead every second of this game. We did see an energy boost on these High Templar. They do got Storms ready. However, if you look at the Protoss army, he's not ready to attack because while he has Storms available and he has Stalkers available, this many Zealots is not going to be able to do that well against a large amount of Marines. Now, obviously, Storm very good against Marines, but if he misses those Storms or we have good splits coming in here from Patchert, it might not matter. And here goes the Protoss army. It is going to go across here. It's probably going to see if he can stop the 3rd from mining for now. I really doubt he's going to try to commit to this. He does kind of back out, did add on a sentry, and now with that addition of Zealots, this might be simply just too much for the Zealots to handle. Even more Zealots being warped in with the Warp Prism, and oh no, yeah, all the SCVs are going to be pulled here to try to deal with this, but 2 really good Storms are going to weaken most of those SCVs. All of the Marines do go down. My keyboard ate my dog, unfair, GG. And Gemini takes the game. That was a good PvT, I really enjoyed that one. If you guys enjoyed, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next replay.